And he goes on and he says, how fair is thy love, my sister, my spouse. How much better is thy love than wine, and the smell of thine ointment than all spices. Wine and spices represent the most beautiful, the most precious things that God has created. Beautiful things. Of all the glory in the world, all the beauty, all the fragrances, all the flowers, all the mountains, all the sunsets, everything that He has made that is full of awesome beauty. But He says, Don, that your love towards Him is more beautiful than all those things put together to Him. He would rather see your love towards Him, as pitiful as that love might be, as small as that love might be. Your love toward Him is more beautiful to God than all the most spectacular and most beautiful things He has ever created. Doesn't that make you want to pray? Doesn't that make you want to be holy? Doesn't that encourage you? That your love is not just ascending up, being a pitiful thing sent back down to earth, rejected. And he goes on and he says this. He says in verse 11, thy lips, O my spouse, drop as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under thy tongue, and the smell of thy garments is like the smell of Lebanon. The prayers of the saints. Do you realize, brother, I'm so sorry that I'm such a pitiful messenger. But do you realize how precious your prayers are to Him? Compared to all the finest things in the world, compared to all the symphonies, compared to all the songs, compared to everything else, you crack your lips and speak a word to God. And it is more precious to Him than everything else combined. Doesn't that make you want to pray? Doesn't that make you want to call on His name, knowing that in Christ it's received, and it is loved, and it is appreciated? And he goes on and he says this. He says, a garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. I use this verse all the time to teach college students about decency, about modesty. But this applies to you, men. A garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. We must be men who have shut the doors to many things. Evil things, bad things, but even good things. We belong to Him. Oh, the Levites, the Levites didn't get the land and the territory and all these things. Poor Levites. But they got God. And you and I, among us as pastors and little itinerant preachers like myself and things. No, we don't go out there and we can't work with our hands and we can't amass fortunes. And many times we spend our lives preaching in churches of 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 people. And yes, we've had to sacrifice many things. And yes, Isaiah 53 is basically a picture of our life if we're a good and godly pastor. And yes, so many things we have missed. But what have we been given? What have we been given? Poor, pitiful pastor? Oh my goodness. I would not trade. I would not step down. I would not trade with the greatest kings and presidents of this world. We have been given the privilege to dwell in the courts of God. To dwell in His courts, to be His ministers. How can we say anything but that we are the most privileged people on the face of the earth? And so we must shut ourselves off from other things, and live for Him, and live for Him. Now, he goes on, and he says this, he says, I'm going to go ahead and time has gone by. I'm trying to find out where I want to go next. Let's just go ahead and jump to 16, verse 16. Now, Bear with me. Please bear with me. You know, brothers, honestly, I feel like I felt when I was preaching at the Baptist Seminary, liberal Baptist Seminary in Bucharest. When I preached on a passion for Christ, the men just sat there like this. When I started talking about Karl Barth, Jürgen Moltmann, and Otto Weber, 3 theologians whose theology closed about every church in Germany, everyone sat up and went like this. Do we want Christ? Verse 16. This is the bride. Oh, I love this passage. Awake, O north wind, and come, thou south. Blow upon my garden, that the spices thereof may flow out. Let my beloved come into his garden and eat his pleasant fruits. Look at this. This young maiden, this spouse to be. She only has one desire. She has worked and worked and worked and worked to prepare a garden and only has one desire, that the wind would blow through that garden and send the fragrance of it to her lover. That's all she wanted. That he would smell the fragrance of what she had done and that he would come and receive it. Do you remember when you were a new Christian? Do you remember when you opened the Bible and you studied it? You just wanted to be so pleasing. You wanted God to see. You wanted God to look down on what you were doing and just give that acknowledgement that He was pleased with you. You would have done anything for His presence to come. You would have done anything for divine seal to be upon your life and upon your work. That's all you wanted. You didn't care about your status in the denomination. You didn't care about what other people were doing. You didn't care about how big your church was or wasn't. You didn't care about any of all that stuff, what people thought of you. The only thing you cared about was, will He see this? Will He come? Will He be pleased with me? Your greatest desire when you were younger was just, Lord, that You'd be pleased with me. That's all I care about. I remember the first job they gave me at a church after I was a Christian. I went to the elders and I said, you know, I'm a college student. I've been saved for a couple months and just, what do you want me to do? And they said, well, what do you know how to do? I said, well, I was raised on a farm all my life. They said, can you build a fence? I said, I've built thousands of fences. So they put me in there. I thought they'd give me something to teach or something. They had me build a fence around the baseball field. Has the best fence anyone's ever built around a baseball field. Why? Just, Lord, look. Look at me. Lord, look. It's me. Look what I'm doing. Not to get rewards, not to have crowns in heaven. Just when a little boy does I'm amazed that when I go to the park and I'm there, I'm usually the only father with his child. Usually it's mothers with the boys. And I go there, and I'll start watching my boy, and my boy will say, look, Dad, look, look, look. And pretty soon, almost every boy in that park is around me. They don't even know me. They're just going, look, sir, look, look, look. Because these little boys want a man to look at them and say, yes, good, go for it. Man, you're something. God has given us that so that we would learn a spiritual principle. That's a good thing for us. Look, Lord. Never forget, sir, you're never going to be anything other than a child. Look, Lord, it's me. Look what I did. But then you get old. You get wise. You get mature. And a very special part of you dies inside. And you begin to become a prey of things like worldly things that will excite. Worldly things that will move you. Why? Because this part of your life in Christ has died, and yet your heart yearns for more than just principles and doctrines and standards and right ways of living. And then he goes on and Verse 1 of chapter 5, I am come into my garden, my sister, my spouse. I have gathered my mirth with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk. Eat, O friends, eat, yea, drink abundantly, O beloved. This is the spouse. This is the king. Now look what's amazing here. He says, I have come into my garden. This is so amazing. Why is it amazing? This is why. He's a king. He has tens of thousands of people building him big gardens every day. Gardens that rank among the wonders of the world. What does he need with a puny little garden of a little girl? If he was a pagan ruler, what would he do? What is this? I mean, don't bother yourself with this, dear. I got other men that can build tremendous gardens and break her heart in two. That's not what he does. He says, I've come into my garden. Those were the happiest words she ever heard. And I want you to know